Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dave. Dave contacted me on a inboard diesel from, what was that, like a sailboat or something? Do you know?
Yep.
That would you buy for a spare a long time ago? And
Yeah, I bought a sailboat brand new in 1980 and had it for about 20 years, and the water pump one, it was hard trying to find parts for it and everything else, and so I went looking online for something to replace just the water pump, and I found this guy in California. We're in Massachusetts here. He had the whole engine, exactly the same engine that I had, and he had actually said that he'd rebuilt most of it, and that he would be willing to, he didn't want to part it out, but he'd be willing to sell the whole thing, so I bought the whole thing.
yeah, it's shipped here?
Yep, had it shipped here. And
that must have been fun.
All I did when I got it is I made sure it had compression, and that's pretty much, I built a little cradle for it, and I stuck it in the shed 20 years ago.
So it's been sitting in the shed for 20 years?
And then 10 years after I bought it, I sold the boat. I told the kid that I sold it to, I would be more than happy to hang on to it if he needed it. Well, that's been 10 years ago now.
So here we are.
So here we are, and we're thinking about retiring and moving somewhere else, so we're starting to get rid of stuff. So
yeah, let's go check it out.
It's going to be a little bit hard to see, perhaps.
I got light.
It's been sitting back in here since 2000, I think is when I bought it. So
Well, that's a nice little tractor too. That ought to make things easy to move.
So it's right down there in the back, in the corner. You can see the
little bit of blue sticking out.
Yeah, the blue thing. It's a Renault single-cylinder 8-horsepower diesel with a transmission.
It does have trans on it too, like forward and reverse,
It's the
right?
whole thing, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
All right, guys, we're gonna do a little bit of digging and we'll get that out of there.
Yeah.
Now we can see it. A cute little thing.
So here's the injector. This is you can pour fluid in here. This is where the intake port is. Yeah. So the injector's there. This is the fuel filter, no oil filter. And it doesn't have an oil pump. It has like a sling thing on the bottom of the connecting rod.
Okay, like an old air-cooled motor. Same idea.
Yeah.
And starter on it. A little primer circuit. Is this a primer? No, it's just the oil fill, huh?
Yeah. No, that's the
reservoir.
Yeah, that's what that is.
And it had an alternator up here. You put that on your other motor.
Yeah, I did take that off. I had to go put it on.
Nice. Let's wiggle this thing out of here.
What's my throwing it up while I got it? I got a change here too. I got something wrapped from here to here.
Bango! There you go. I think you're fine.
Well, let me get the chain on first. Well, got our chain on. Roll bucket back. Got it.
So Dave said he went and poked in there a little bit beforehand. You said you went to go spin it over, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's got any compression. Nope. Come on. Alright guys, now that we're back at the shop and on the lift, we get a little bit better look at what we got going on, try to educate ourselves a little bit. Let's get rid of that. Not sure what that is, maybe a charging system, like a voltage regulator. Condenser on a diesel, maybe just for noise on the charging system. A couple of wires cut off for that, wires cut off here. And what do we got for a wiring harness? There should not be very much needed to run a diesel. One is gonna, I don't know if that's a temp head sensor or a glow plug. I see no, he pointed out too, there's no plug there, and I think there was another location up here. So it's missing a couple of the plugs for the cooling system. They would look probably something like that. And this is the exhaust coming out slash mixed with cooling water, which is common on a boat. I would say this is our water pump. That's the injector. I would say, unless we see something else with a wire going to it, that would be the only one that's a glow plug. Again, or it may not even have one at all, may not use one. Some diesels don't have them. Our fuel pump. And then down to another, so it might be a primary and a secondary. There's a little hand prime on that pump. And that went to the fuel line. I think we've got to blow that out before we even try. I don't know what that is sticking in the middle of it right there. I'll have to pop that line off, blow air back through it. 12 volt starter, that should be fairly simple. We just need a heavy 12 volts coming to this side, and then you put positive 12 volts. That should pull the solenoid in and make it crank. You see anything else that's kind of screwy? We'll check for crankcase oil. Who knows what's in it? One thing that's got me a little questioning, and it may just be the way it is, or it may have been he may have been schnookered when he bought it too. So all the paint's missing from the head, like it got real hot and overheated, and the fact that these plugs are out. So it may be good, it may be cooked. We're gonna go find out. All right, so let's, all right, we want to see if there's oil in it, and before we do anything, before we start drawing anything in, we want to go take this line off of here and back below through it so we don't have sucking any crap in. Forget whether we checked it at his place or not. It doesn't look familiar. Let's go. I don't know if you would ship a motor with oil in it. Yeah, it's halfway up the stick. Good. Well, let's get the line off of there real quickly. We'll blow air back through there to get the crap out of it. You can see he said he had it for 20 years, but who knows how long it sat for on the other end, when the other people you bought it from. 21 years? I'm just dropping everything. Alright. Let's give that a little. Feels good. I know diesels, I'm not that familiar with diesels, but that never stopped me before, right? Generally, sometimes they have two pumps on it. They have a primary pump that kind of just draws the fuel up, and then it has a secondary pump that kicks the pressure up, because you need on an injection, on a diesel with an injection, you got a overcome the compressions. The injector directs, try that again. The injector injects fuel directly into the cylinder. Where a lot of times you are injecting by the valve. Pretty sure that's how that works. So you need pressure, fuel pressure that's greater than the compression that the engine has, and on a diesel that's fairly high, because on a diesel it does not use a spark plug to fire. It uses the heat of squeezing air together to fire the air fuel mix that's in the chamber. And again, the injector has a timing on that. I'm not quite sure what's controlling that. I would say right there is going through. So this may just be a filter, and then there's a pump over here. I'm not sure of that. It kind of looks like a filter, yeah. Let's pop that off before we go any further. I would think some fuel would be in it somewhere, unless when they took it out, they disconnected fuel from it and ran it all the way out. Yeah, I whacked you in the head, sorry. Go try to capture some of that. It's got some weird looking stuff happening in there. It's a weird pattern of goo. Let's see if we could steer it with some paper down to the cup. Drop that a little lower. That'll do us. Give her. Come on, fingers. Gotta give her a little. About diesel, it grows microbes, a little bacteria, I guess, that grows in diesel. I guess every fluid has its own problem, huh? I don't know if that's gonna have enough room for us to get that out of there. It screws up against the pallet. Looks like it's free. There it goes. Well, I wouldn't say that was full, but it wasn't empty neither. Let's see how our filter and stuff look. A little dark for diesel, but not terrible. Good. I am going to take an air gun and blow out. No, I'm not. Let's, I don't know what I want to do. What do you want to do? So we're not going to pump any more diesel up into the injector. That's kind of what I'm worried about. I just want to push crap up into the injector and have the injector get screwed up. So let's go get a jumper pack and put it on here. We'll throw a little bit of oil down the intake just for the fact of kind of lubricating the cylinder a little bit, and we'll spin it over. Maybe. Yeah, we'll spin it over with a little bit of oil in there and just kind of watch, and maybe it'll pump a little bit of whatever's left in the system out of it. So we give a little puff to the intake in case there's dirt or mouse crap in there. Good. Yeah, let's get some oil in there. There's a very slight chance that it could actually start on that. I don't think it will, because I don't think we have enough heat generated. But let's go see. First of all, even if the starter works. And what we get? And nothing on the starter. Round it right on the starter bolt, see if we get anything now. There we go. Maybe jump. Alright, let's hear what she sounds. Boy, that transmission is growly. I wonder if there's a forward and reverse. Here's the lever. I don't know if it's in gear. There we go. That's neutral. But let's listen to it. sound terrible. It definitely sounds like it goes through a set of gears going out to that transmission though. It's probably just like a flywheel with a straight cut of gears hitting another gearbox, and you just have forward and reverse. There's no clutch because in a boat, you know, the prop slips in the water. You just be kind of quick with it when you put it in gear, just like a regular gas outboard. Let's see. So we are going to need to get fuel to it. And again, I don't know if that is a glow plug or if that is a cylinder head temp sensor. It's kind of in a weird place, I think, for a, I'll tell you what, if we could put our finger behind it. No, we're not going to get in there. Let's just pop that out real quick. Like I said, I don't think it's a glow plug. It doesn't have the look to it. The wire seems kind of small for a glow plug. Usually they draw a fair amount of current, but let's just go pop that out real quick. That exhaust is just hanging on there. I got that out of our way. Let's, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be a head temp sensor. So, yeah, it is just in the cooling jacket. So that's what it is. It's just measuring the heat of the water that's going around. So this has no glow plug. So it's going to fight us a little bit because of that fact, between getting fuel to it, getting enough of the engine spinning up to generate some heat to start getting the fire. Let me go take an air gun. I want to blow some of the crap out in that water jacket. And we should be good. It's definitely evidence of mice all over it, so exhaust. I think the next thing would be a good idea to find is where's the throttle? We may want to educate ourselves on that. I'm not sure what that is. You would think there'd be a bar or a level or something that a cable or a linkage goes to somewhere on the injection side of things. So that runs down. I would think it would be right on that pump somewhere. What's this spring loaded? Is that it right there? What's that? We'll get a better light. Yeah, one thing with a diesel is when it's running, you can't shut it off. It's not like you have spark to just go turn the thing off. I'm guessing that's going to be it, but you would think there would be some other kind of throttle on the boat that controls that. Or is that, no, I'm about to say, is that decompression? No, I don't think so. It wouldn't be down there, it would be up on the cylinder head somewhere, I would think. Let's just keep looking, see if we see anything that imitates the throttle. So that's going to be primer for the pump. This lever is forward, neutral, and reverse. I'm not sure what that dead wire is. The hot lead that's still hooked up. Let's get that out of there. Should probably just take that right off. And we're going to have fuel in and fuel out. It's going to be a pattern going around. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Are you? Is that same lever from there? It is. So if that's the same lever going to the other side, it would have been cable down to here. Yeah, so that's what it is. That's our throttle right there. Not sure which way is full throttle and which way is idle. At least we know where to run and grab in case it does go to run away. I would think you would pull cable. I think that would be full throttle. That would be idle. And then it's got like a governor set up on it, it seems like. Because it's a diesel, you're just trying to maintain RPM. They don't run, there's not a very big window of where they run. You know, say they idle at 650, full RPM is like $2,000. It's not like a gas motor where you're going from 650 to like $4,000 or so. I don't know, I think if, sorry to lose, if we can get it so that we can crank it enough we can possibly get it to cough and fart on just dumping some oil in the intake. Possibly, I'm not sure of that. So let's go give that a shot. I kind of want to spin over for a little bit anyway and get a better idea what we got. If that's the case, and then we'll start getting into the fuel system and hooking that up and priming it and getting it to go. So I can probably dribble a little bit in while we're cranking. Popping a little steam out the other side. Let me set you up on the other end. Let's get that faintly distinct smell of a diesel, which is a good sign. Give a little bit more oil in it. Wants to. Okay, you know, if having this compression to run and getting enough heat, plus also it's the timing of when that fuel gets squirted in there is is fairly important. But a lot of times on a diesel, you can shoot some ether in there and it'll fire up. I'm trying to avoid doing that, but we'll give it a shot. The starter's not taking any heat at all. Well, maybe a little. I let that cool off a little bit. We'll try it one more time. I'm waiting for that to cool down a little bit. I want to get rid of all that wiring that is doing nothing on this. And like I said, it's a mechanical diesel, so it doesn't really need a signal from anything. Let's give it another shot. Not quite sure if you can flood it. I'm sure you can. Get me a better oil. Let's see if I think I got a drum of kerosene around here somewhere. Should run on that. Let's go try it with some kerosene. See if it likes that a little bit better. Well, that was quite entertaining of a smoke screen. It's back. Yep, try it out again. See if I can baby feed it, bottle feed it, keep it going. Well, she'll run. Good. Awesome. We go change some air out of here real quick and we'll start getting into that fuel system. So it looks like we could backfeed or backfill the filter housing. Take a wiggle all this back in there. The back, and then I got to come up with some kind of, I guess we could just use a pail. I mean, something like a pail to just have a line go in and out of. It doesn't need to be fancy. Damn it. Where's the hole? Going in blind. So I'm going to run this up. Well, I'll come up with some kind of container. As long as you run the 2 lines in it, even just the 1 line in it and the return towards it. I think I got it. Yep. I think we need a bigger container of fuel, huh? I gotta give you a reach around. Hold on. I would figure out it's gonna piss out that hole in a second. The other part is any air that gets trapped in it really screws them up. Like if you run a diesel out of fuel, it kind of fights you a little bit. Because you got to get all that air out. Usually you crack the line by the injector. Let's see if that stays. It's got to get through the filter and fill up the inside of the filter. And it's full to the top. We'll call that right there. So look at the feed line coming from the pump up to a T and then up to the injector. Actually, no, that's how it's going. This is the feed. Okay, the metal line's the feed, and then this is an overflow and a return going back. But it looks like it has one going back to the pump too. I don't know, maybe it just kind of keeps a smaller circle, and anything that's not used is kicked out of this one. That's my guess. Okay. I just do a couple hoses on there and a cup. So the one that is being held underneath, that's our intake, and that's going to be the return. And we have that little primer on here. I don't know if I should. I'll give it a little bit. I don't know if I should crack that line maybe right there. We'll see if we get anything out of it. See if I feel any resistance. It feels like it's doing something. Let me go grab a wrench and throw it on there and see if we'll bleed from location to location. Yeah, see if that gets us anywhere. Basically, when you keep on going, if that pump is any good, till we start seeing fluid coming out of there. If we don't, even if this pump is kind of kaput, we still might be able to get it on the fact that we filled up the filter housing and try bleeding it up top. But I would prefer to try to get it just so we have a assessment of what's good and what's not good on this thing too. What I might do, that might need a prime also. Let's, if we can crack this one loose, and we'll take that little turkey baster I got, the little feeder, and we'll shoot some fluid in there. At least get the part of the pump wet. The other thing too, kerosene is thinner than diesel. I don't know by how much, but you figure that's the intake, right? It should. Well, try putting some on both sides. Ain't gonna hurt, right? I don't know how much of a cavity there is up above it, but I would think that it's just like a regular fuel pump that has like 2 little check valves in it. And sometimes when they sit, they stick. probably wouldn't hurt to. This may have even had like an electric pump that fed fuel to it. Yeah. From here, you know, it may have even had not been gravity feed, you know. Yeah. Let's. Here's the other end of that line. And I need one of those on the other side. Don't think it's going to prime for us. I think, like I said, I think it had to be either a little pump that fed that, maybe. Not sure. So I'm going to go lock them up, and we're going to see if the fact that the filter housing is full, whether that will prime itself and get itself to go. Let's go find out. Another thing we could probably do is we just go feed it a little bit and, you know, run it on the bottle, and then hopefully it'll prime itself instead of just trying to get it to crank over. Let's go see what happens if just from straight cranking first. Just for some shit luck, it'll run on the injector. She's definitely pumping fuel back, and the thing is not in the cup. As evidence of what's going on. Here's what was happening. Hold on one sec. Yeah, that's not going to work. You need to be in there. At least you know fluid's getting up to the injector, though. We may have just pumped that thing dry. That, who knows. Where's that throttle? There it is. I don't know what's wet, so. Well, it definitely foamed up the cup. It was definitely flowing through there pretty good. Back to there. I don't know if we just used everything up. Let's go crack that and see if we can see any fluid in it. I actually see it bubbling around it. Can I not have it tight all the way? No. Saw air coming around the threads. I think that might be what it did. I think I might have used up the what was in that float. Let me go fill that one more time. Yeah. So it just pretty much emptied that out. We'll try that a couple of times though and see if we can get that to, you know, prime itself and go through. If not, it's just the fact that I don't have enough going to it. All right, so I got the filter housing filled again. At the camera, you can kind of see the return line. We'll get an idea what's happening with that. Let's let her fire up again and possibly prime it. Other thing I was thinking too is if that was leaking a little bit there, it would probably be sucking air and not drawing through the pump. But let's see. Yeah, that's exactly what it did. It ran, it purged all the fuel through the system until it started blowing air out. So it is not drawing fuel in through this side. Whether there's something wrong with that pump or I'm just not catching something, not sure. But I definitely think she's not doing what she should. But it'll run. I'm happy for that. I don't know how much more we can go do with it. Again, we're missing free plug. We can't run it very long anyway with no cooling system on it. It's not hot at all, but again, you don't want to cook it in that aspect of things. A friend of mine ended up getting a free sailboat, a 23-foot, I think it's O'Day, day sailor, with no engine in it. So whether he gets that together or not, I don't know. But if he does, and he's able to put a motor in the hull of it, I think it's set up for a little outboard kicker right now. But if he ever gets that all together, I think I will gift this to him because it's liquid cooled. I don't know how much of a value it's going to be to me to try to use on something, we could. I mean, we could maybe like a generator or something like that, because they're very fuel efficient. And I think, what do you say it was, 9.5 horsepower, right around there? So that's a decent size for a generator. To like a 6,000 watt generator, 5,000 watt generator would be good for that, but who knows. All right, I say we go for one more time, but I want to see if I can make it idle. I'm not quite sure which way is which, but let's go see if we can get it to like calm down, just see if it'll chug along. No, it's not doing what she's supposed to be doing. The idle, I think, will work, but it just dumps the fuel out so fast. Look how full the cup is every time. It's just emptying out that reservoir. And I do have them correct, right? Yeah, I wouldn't be putting fluid back. This would be the intake. The other thing too is I wonder if it's sucking air through a bad line. Yeah, I just want to see if we can get an idle out of it. Come on. Yeah, she'll idle. As long as you got fuel, good. The lever was kind of stuck. I was only moving between this far, and it kind of popped down further, and that's where the idle circuit was. So yes, it will idle. I don't know if gravity, if we get that up higher and kind of get it primed. Oh, a good way to do that. Well, I do think I found where the problem is. So I was going to hook up a auxiliary tank and have gravity feed come from up above, but that line is totally toasted and is peeing everywhere. So what was happening was just sucking air from there. It couldn't do anything. So I'm gonna go cut all this right off of here. We'll put a line right to this and we'll feed it again and see how we work out. Yeah, that was our issue. All right, so this is our new conglomeration. We got a new plastic line, got rid of that braided line that was on there that was leaking like a sieve. Cut that off of there, have a feed going to there, and then feed going back to the tank, and the tank is higher. Let's try, it's got air in it. It shows the air is right there. Let's go try running that primer. It looks like the fuel is moving. Good. I don't know if you can see that. Right now it's right there. So I'm going to keep priming that. I did fill the filter housing back up again. I'm going to go run that a couple of times, see if we can get that to totally fill up with fluid, and we'll try it one more time and see if we can get a maintained run out of it. I figure if that is working, we should be able to keep on pumping it. We should be able to push fluid right out of here, right? Right now it's a little on the low side, so let's get I don't know how much it does each time. It's, I'm sure not very much. Right, there we go. All right. That means we have fuel going through that pump. I think this is a good sign. I would like to, run it for at least a minute or two. Not too much that we overheat it, but. All right, step back. Contact. Throttle all the way down. There's only one problem. I can't shut it off. I gotta starve it for air. Some air's coming down already. I was trying to shut the air supply off to it. So you do is you cup your hand over. Like big diesels, when they run away, you throw a rag or something over the intake. But it had another breather going to the crankcase, so it was still sucking air from the crankcase. It wouldn't shut off. Yeah, I don't know if it has what it would use for a fuel a shut off. The throttle is all the way down. That was a slow idle. That thing was like 400 RPM maybe. I got her to chug down to. Yeah, sometimes there's, like a fuel shut off is generally how it is, or decompression that you open up and it allows it to shut down. I don't know, but I do know she's a runner and actually does quite well. Seems like it would do awesome in its futures. I really don't have a plan for it right now. I do have a friend that he got it for free actually. It was side of the road for free. It's the fall time. I think it's a 23-foot O'Day sailboat, and it has the little, a little pad off the back of it that you would put like a little gas kicker motor to go run around. But this would be also good for that too. And if he ever gets that boat together, I'll offer him this motor to put in there. Essentially, you just have to put a hole through the hull with a direct drive shaft and prop going out of it, and that's it. I'm sure there's probably already, amenities, locations in the boat for that. But if I get a chance, I'll take a spin over. I'll show you the boat that he got. This line's leaking too, as I was trying to show. It was pissing out of here, which is the return also, and then back to the pump. But it seems like everything functions like it should. That would probably even work even if it was below grade. Again, it was just sucking air through that line. It was never going to go prime itself. Cool. She does quite well. A little loud with no exhaust on it, but hey. A couple of freeze plugs and the cooling system, and it needs an alternator. But it could probably just use like a one-wire alternator from like a GM or something and just run with that. It really doesn't need to be anything fancy. Alright guys, with that I'm going to go sign off. If I get a chance, I'll go show you that boat, and we'll have some fun next week with something else. Until then, I'll see you later. So here we are at Justin's place. This is the boat I was talking about. You want to give a quick little backstory to how you came about it?
Yeah, my wife and I were driving down the road and we went by this it's a boat repair place, and it was sitting in front of all the boats and had that big free sign on it. And I said to my wife, I go, "Free boat!" And she says, "Don't even think about it." Well,
you did. You didn't think about it at all. You just went right for it. Yeah,
grabbed it.
You were good.
So we got back to the house and she had bought a bunch of stuff that she wanted. So I said, "No, just because of that, I'm gonna go get a boat." And I thought I was kidding. And then I have a boat. So,
well, if you get it together, I'm not sure what it has for a whole setup, but I'm sure they do inboards on these too. But yeah. It's a little wonky there with that.
Yeah, it's from sitting on they're supposed to sit on the keel. The weight's supposed to be on the keel, not on the boat, and it's been sitting on this trailer for so long. That should pop out once the weight's off of that. It should settle back out. And if it doesn't, you can still sail it like that. Yeah. It shouldn't affect it that much.
But anyway, so it's like a 9.5 horse single cylinder diesel electric start.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if you put it right there somewhere in the hull and have a shaft that comes out and run a propeller, it'll work.
Yeah.
If you ever get to that point, you get her in a word, or you're welcome to it. If not, cool. It might turn into something else.
Yeah.
Price is right though.
Yeah, price is definitely right.
What it have inside? It had like a berth in the front.
Yeah,
and
then a berth in the front, and then it's got two little benches. Looks like the table goes down. You could probably, one person can sleep on the table.
That's all full of stuff right now. You can't see.
Yeah, all the sails are in there. The tank for the pulleys are in there. There's some rigging in there. Most of the rigging's already on the sail.
Neat.
Yeah. I've heard these are good boats.
I think so too, yeah.
Some people race them because they're pretty quick, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's a class just racing these. Or
Yeah.
All right, guys, with that, I'm going to go sign off. Again, thanks for hanging out with me, having a little bit of fun, a little bit of wrenching, and maybe we'll see it again get installed in this sometime in the
Yeah.
far future.
Far future.
All right, guys, take care. See ya.